So today what we're going to do is a cutaway cube, and we're going to start with a 2-point perspective cube below eye level, and I'm going to use color pencils today. And so if you would like to use colored pencils for your homework, you may do that. If you would prefer to use graphite so that you can correct and erase a little bit easier, that also would be fine. So the first thing that we need to do is draw a leading edge. And again, I'm going to construct my 2-point cube like I normally would, drawing my perspective lines. And I'm going to bisect the angle, drop my vertical line down. I'm going to make this a little bit sharper because this side's a little smaller. One thing that you have to do with your 2-point cube often is to push down the back corner. The last thing I'm going to do here is try to figure out where my inside shape, we'll just see how that looks. It looks pretty good. Okay, and I'm going to keep that inside really light right now. There's my 2-point cube. The next thing I'm going to do is cut away parts of the cube. For this assignment, we're going to only draw lines that are vertical, horizontal, and perspective lines. What I like to do is X the plane. So remember when we did our doubled cube, we X'd the plane to find the center. And I like to just divide my cube into a few more segments. I'm finding the center, and then I'm just projecting a vertical line and a perspective line. And so you can see how you could create a grid on your object. Okay, so what I want to do is a cutout. Well, let's start simple. Let's just do a vertical cutout on the bottom edge of the right-hand side here. I'm going to use this center line and this perspective line, and I'm going to cut out a doorway. So I'll draw another vertical line. And then I have to basically erase this line because this is the opening of my cutout. But I need to, when I erase that, I need to connect this corner to the vanishing point. And create the interior edge. So now I have an opening where it looks like I can go into that space. I'm gonna lighten that line. And later I'm gonna go back with a darker pencil to darken and do line weight, but for right now, I just wanna darken that so you can see what I've done. So there's my first cutout. Now let's try something on the other side that touches the top of the box. So I'm going to do a similar cut where I use this center line and my center perspective line and do another kind of opening that touches the top of the box. This is going to be empty, and I have to connect or finish the shape on the top. I have to decide how deep it's going to be, my cutout, and this would be the floor, the interior floor of that shape. Let's go on the top. We have to use our perspective lines. Make sure those follow the lines towards the vanishing point. Let's go halfway. Okay, so here's my new cutout, and let's see, I'm going to erase this top line. I'm just going to lighten these lines around it. Now I had to finish my shape, and so again, remember, this is a slice that's being cut out, and I need a base from this corner, so this would show like the ground or the floor of that shape, and then I need a wall or an edge. So I'm creating two planes on the inside of this cutout shape, like that. Okay, now for this assignment, you have to do 5 cutouts. And again, they must be vertical or horizontal cuts. The problem solving that you have to do is once you make a cut, once you cut out a shape, you have to figure out what the perspective lines look like now on the inside of that shape. So I'm going to do a few more and then I'll add line weight, and the next step is for you to do at least 5 thumbnail designs. And these will be due next class. Just make a basic box. It doesn't even have to be perfect. And flesh out your design. Again, remember, your lines have to be converging if they're perspective lines, and otherwise they can be vertical cuts. Okay, so there are 3 thumbnail sketch designs. You're going to do 5 for homework. Oh, I just wanted to clarify, when I'm saying vertical and horizontal lines, I'm thinking of those lines that are parallel and perpendicular to the square face of our cube. So for instance, if this is my square and I'm doing a cutout in this flat view, which this is actually the 1-point view, I can only make vertical and horizontal lines. I'm looking for cutouts that are staying in parallel or perpendicular to the edges of my cube, like 90-degree angles. However, when they're in perspective, we will only see vertical lines, vertical lines. You can see all of those here, vertical, vertical. All of these lines are vertical, right? Or should be. Okay, so there's vertical lines there, and then the horizontal lines in this 2-point view are actually perspective lines. So those are all the lines that are going towards either the right vanishing point or the left vanishing point. And remember, we're using the rules of convergence, so we're not drawing the horizon line and vanishing point on our paper, but we're still following those rules that parallel lines, as they move away from our viewpoint, will converge as they move away from us towards that horizon line and vanishing point. Now, there's only two types of perspective lines, the ones going this way and the ones going the other direction. So all you have to do, you have all of your vertical cuts, is figure out like what direction does this line go to. So it's either a vertical line or an orthogonal line to the right, or an orthogonal line to the left. Okay? If you can fit all 5 thumbnails on one sheet of paper, that's okay. If not, maybe 2 sheets of paper would be good. You can also do more than 5, but 5 is the minimum requirement for this step. I will look at, and your peers will look at your designs and help you decide which design to move forward with for your final drawing, which will have to be using convergence, below eye level, using the same format, but must be as accurate as possible, as clean as possible with line weight.